Namaste. My name is JVN Manisha Singh, Assistant Professor in Department of Food and Biotechnology under Faculty of Agriculture and Veterinary Sciences in Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University, Jaipur. I am teaching you subject Unit Operation in Food Industries for class BSc FST second semester and BTech FPT second semester. In our previous session, I was discussed about the freezing and principle of freezing and the methods of freezing used in food industries. In today's session, we will discuss all about the types of freezers and the thawing process. So let's begin with the topic, types of freezers. Okay, so there are now many different types of freezers available for freezing the fruit products, and the freezer operates are often uncertain about which the type is best suited for their needs. So three factors may be initially considered when selecting a freezer. Number one is financial, number two is functional, and number three is feasibility. Financial considerations will take into account both the capital and running cost of the equipment and also projected losses such as the product damage and the dehydration. Expensive freezers should therefore justify their purchase by special benefits, and if these benefits are not worthwhile, and they need not to be considered. Okay. Next is the functional considerations that will take into the account such things as whether the freezer is required for continuous or the batch operation, and also whether the freezer is physically able to freeze the product. For instance, a horizontal plate freezer would be inappropriate for freezing large whole tuna fish. Okay. Next is the feasibility, and it will take into the account whether it is possible to operate the freezer in tile plant location, and a liquid nitrogen freezer, for instance, may be suitable in every respect for freezing, and the product and the high costs of using this method of freezing may be justified. However, if the location of the plant is such that there can be no guaranteed supply of liquid nitrogen, the freezer should not be considered. So initial considerations such as those mentioned above, like financial, functional, and feasibility, will eliminate many freezers from the final choice, but still leave many options open to the freezer operator. In order to give the reader some guidance in both the selection and the use of freezers, descriptions of various types are now available for freezing are described, and the types of freezer likely to be used in developing countries, especially where freezing is a relatively new process. Okay, so freezers in this category are the types of freezers are three basic types are there. Number one is a blowing or continuous stream of cold air, is the air blast freezers. Next is the direct contact between the food product and the refrigerated surface is the contact or the plate freezer. And third is the immersion or spraying with a refrigerated liquid is the immersion or a spray freezer. Okay. So number one is the air blast freezers. The advantage of the air blast freezer is its versatility, and it can cope with a variety of irregularly shaped products, and whenever there is a wide range of shapes and sizes to be frozen, the blast freezer is the best choice. Okay, so however, because of this versatility, it is most often difficult for the buyer to specify precisely what he expects to it to achieve, and once it's installed, it is all too easy to use it incorrectly and inefficiently. Before going on to the describe the various types of air blast freezer, it is necessary to deal with some of the basic principles of the air blast freezer design and operation. Okay, so the use of air to transfer the heat from the product being frozen to the refrigeration system is probably the most common method used in the commercial refrigeration. The natural convection of the air alone would not give a good heat transfer rate. Therefore, forced convection by means of fans has to be introduced, and to enable the product to be frozen in a reasonable time, the airflow rate should be fairly high. Also, in order to obtain uniform freezing rates throughout the freezer, the airflow requires to be consistent over each package. Okay, so that is the air blast freezer. And continuous air blast freezers may economically justify their air speeds in excess, and continuous freezers are expensive and require a good deal of the floor space. And if the air speed is increased, the freezing time reduced, and a smaller freezer will be required for a given freezing capacity. And the savings in the freezer costs may therefore justify the use of higher air speeds, and air speeds as high at 10 to 15 meter per second may therefore be economically justifiable for continuous freezer. Higher air speeds can also be justified when products have freezing times of less than about 30 min. The airflow over the surface of a product being frozen cannot be measured simply. In reality, the air immediately adjacent to the surface of the product is stagnant due to the friction between the air and the surface of the product. And this stagnant air forms a boundary layer which acts as a resistance to the heat transfer. And the layer thickness depends on air velocity, a degree of turbulence, and other factors. The air speeds quoted for air blast freezers are therefore only average speeds for the spaces between the fish or packages or product being frozen. Okay, so this is the air blast freezer. Now there are various types of air blast freezers. Uh, there are many different designs of air blast freezers for both batch and continuous operations. And continuous air blast freezers are the products are conveyed through the freezer, usually entering at one end and leaving the other. When trucks or trolleys are used, they are loaded at one end of the freezer and progressively moved along the freezer as additional trucks are loaded. Okay, so once the freezer is full, a truck has to be removed from the exit, and before a fresh truck can be loaded, this batch continuous operation must always allow the coldest air to flow over the coldest fish. Otherwise, fish which are well frozen will be subjected to warmer air as new trucks are loaded. The movement of the trucks is therefore in the opposite direction to the airflow in the freezing section. One difficulty with this type of freezer is that when the freezer is fully loaded, a whole row of trucks has to be moved at one time. This is particularly difficult at very low temperatures since special bearing and lubricants are required for truck wheel, and it is difficult to keep the trucks free of frost and ice. Trolleys have been suspended from overhead rails to overcome some of these difficulties, but this equipment is cumbersome and still not easy to operate. Okay, so continuous air blast freezers using belt or conveyors for moving the product through the freezer can only be used if the product can be frozen quickly, and it is unlikely that a product with a freezing time of more than 30 minutes would be suitable for the freezer. The reason for the limitation of freezing time is the freezer will become too long and cumbersome if a long freezing time is required, and the freezing requirement is kg per hour, and the loading density of the product on the belt determine the freezer dimensions. Okay, so that is the air blast freezer. Next type is the plate freezers. And plate freezers and the air blast freezers are the type of the freezer used mostly commonly used for freezing in industrial countries. And plate freezers do not have the versatility of the air blast freezers and can only be used to freeze regularly block shape and packages. Plate freezers can be arranged with the plates horizontal to the form of a series of shelves, and as the arrangement suggests, they are called horizontal plate freezers, and the plates are arranged in a vertical plane. Then they form a series of bins, and in this form, they are known as the vertical plate freezer. And modern plate freezers have their plates constructed from extruded sections of aluminium alloy arranged in such a manner as to allow the refrigerant to flow through the plates and thus provide heat transfer surfaces on both the sides. And plate freezers are fitted with the hydraulic systems which moves the plates together and apart. Next is the horizontal plate freezers, and the two main uses of this type of freezer are the freezing of pre-packed cartons of fish and the fish products, for the retail sale and the formation of homogeneous rectangular blocks of the fish fillets called laminated blocks, and for the preparation of the fish portions. Okay, so the horizontal plate freezers intended to be operated with the hot gas defrosted are fitted with the additional pipework which allow the cold refrigerant to be discharged from the bottom of the freezer as the defrost proceeds. Without this special pipework and operating valves, a hot defrost would clear the top plates only and leave the cold refrigerant in the plates at the bottom levels. As in all the hot gas defrost systems, the refrigeration system must have an adequate load to provide sufficient hot gas for an effective defrost, and this system would therefore be better applied when there are two or more freezers operated from a common refrigeration system, and each freezer will then be defrosted in turn while the others are in operation. Okay, next is the vertical plate freezers. The main advantage of this freezer is that the fish can be frozen in a bulk without the requirement to package or arrange on a trays. Okay, so the plate form, which what is in effect a bin with an open top, and the fish are loaded directly into the shape, the space, and this type of freezer is therefore particularly suitable for bulk freezing, and it has also been extensively used for freezing whole fish at the sea. Okay, so the maximum size of the block made by this method is usually 1070 mm into 3535 mm. Other dimensions, however, can be produced in which the thickness can vary from 25 to 130 mm, but will depend on the fish to be frozen. Okay, so the next type of freezer is the liquid nitrogen freezer. And in this freezer, the product is brought into direct contact with the refrigerant, and the product on the stainless steel conveyor belt initially come into the contact with the counter current flow of nitrogen gas at temperature of about minus 50 degrees Celsius. As the product progresses through the pre-cooling stage of the freezer, the gaseous nitrogen partially freezes the fish, and up to 50% of the product heat is extracted, and the product then passes below the liquid spray where the freezing is completed by the boiling liquid. The last stage is in the freezer provides a few minutes for the fish temperature to reach equilibrium before the fish are discharged. The main advantage of liquid nitrogen freezer is that freezing is very quick and the physical size of the freezer is correspondingly small, and the freezer is operated without the need for compressors, condensers or coolers. Therefore, maintenance of requirements are minimal and the power required to operate the freezer is very low. Liquid nitrogen must be retained in a vacuum insulated pressure vessel with continuous venting to keep the contents cool and the internal pressure down. Next is the carbon dioxide freezer, and this type of freezer has been known for a long time and uses liquefied carbon dioxide, which is usually a byproduct of the another industrial process. And the liquefied carbon dioxide is injected into the freezer and comes into the direct contact with this product. And next is the immersion freezers, and by using a liquid for the removal of the heat from a product, favorable freezing rates can be achieved, and liquid can be removed more heat per unit volume than the gas, but like gas, a stagnant boundary layer is formed which slows the transfer of the heat. Liquids used for heat transfer must therefore be circulated over the product, and difficulties due to high viscosity often arise when a low temperature liquid is used. Okay, so many liquids that have suitable refrigeration and heat transfer properties are not allowed to use in the direct contact with the food, and those that are available are limited in their use because they may cause the changes in the texture and the taste in the food which with which they are in the direct contact. So immersion in sodium chloride brine was one of the very first method used to freeze fish, since it was logical progression from the method used to freeze block ice. Okay, so brine immersion freezing may still be used for such fishes as tuna, which are intended to be marketed as a canned product. Okay, so remaining from this, the name of another types of freezers are the tunnel freezers and fluidized bed freezer and the cryogenic freezing. Okay, In the fluidized bed freezers, they are used to freeze particulate fruits such as the peas, cut corn, diced carrots, strawberries, and the foods are placed on a mesh conveyor belt and moved through a freezing zone in which the cold air is directed upward through the mesh belt and the food particulates uh, begin to tumble and float. Okay, and in the air blast tunnel freezers or the belt freezers, pre-cooled air is at approximately minus 40 degrees Celsius is blown over the food products, and packaged foods such as fruits and vegetables, bakery goods, poultry, meats, and prepared meals are usually frozen in air blast tunnels, and the packages are placed onto the dollies or hand trucks and then rolled into the freezer tunnels. Okay. So next topic is the thawing. So what is thawing? Uh, where it is required. So the raw materials, for example, fish, meat, and the frozen products may be received in a frozen state, and thawing will then be needed before further processing is carried out. And thawing is a widely applied in fish and frozen meat processing, and it is used in some other sectors such as production of ready-to-eat meal. So thawing by contact with the outside environment is slower than the opposing freezing under otherwise equal driving force conditions, and accelerating the thawing by using water saturated hot air and may cause a rapid growth of microorganisms on the surface layer of the thawed product, as well as hindering reabsorption of the thawed water, thus creating the unsightly and often nutritionally wasteful drip loss. And the use of microwave energy, which is not transferred by conduction through the thawed food layers, is a faster and less damaging thawing process. And the traditional thawing of frozen fish and meat takes place under running water. And in this case, the unpackaged meat or fish are put in the iron crates and completely immersed in a pools with the water. And thawing by sprinkling is also applied. Desalting and defrosting are carried out simultaneously. Okay, so changes in the processes: avoid hot air use. Thawing using hot air consumes high energy and causes the rapid growth of microorganisms. And other alternative technologies are also used. For example, microwave energy. Okay, so from this session, question may be asked like explain the different types of freezers and used in the food industries, and what is thawing and what is the importance of thawing, and why we need to do the thawing process. These type of questions will be asked in your final exam, so prepare accordingly. I hope this session is clear to all. Thank you so much for watching this session.